And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails that I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to just comment or engage me in conversation about anything. Just dial directly into the station at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Ray Mailer in his series, The American Grid. My special guest, Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless. He's going to be talking about new wireless news and technology. Yeah. But right now, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 98 degrees on its way to 61. That's the number I can't hardly wait to see. But, you know, right now, let's talk about the news. And, boy, there is a lot of it. Right off the bat, Obama vigorously challenged critics of the landmark Iran deal. Vigorously challenging his critics, President Barack Obama launched an aggressive and detailed defense of a landmark Iranian nuclear accord today, rejecting the idea that it leaves Tehran on the brink of a bomb and arguing the only alternative to the diplomatic deal is war. Either the issue of Iran obtaining a nuclear weapon is resolved diplomatically through a negotiation, or it's resolved through force, through war, Obama said during a lengthy White House news conference, and those are the options, he says. The president spoke one day after Iran, the United States, and 5 other world powers finalized a historic year-long agreement to curb Tehran's nuclear program in exchange for billions of dollars of sanctions relief. Opposition to the deal has been fierce, both in Washington and Israel. Sunni Arab rivals of Shiite Iran also expressed concerns. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, perhaps the fiercest critic of Obama's overtures to Iran, showed no sign that he could be persuaded to even tolerate the agreement. In remarks to Israel's parliament, Netanyahu said he was not bound by the terms of the deal and could still take military action against Iran. We will reserve our right to defend ourselves against all of our enemies, said Netanyahu, who sees Iran's suspected pursuit of a nuclear weapon as a threat to Israel's existence. In Congress, resistance comes not only from Republicans, but also Obama's own Democratic Party. Vice President Joe Biden spent the morning on Capitol Hill meeting privately with House Democrats, telling reporters that as he left that he was confident they would get behind the deal. You know what? It's gonna. You know what? I read this deal. This thing is 159 pages long, and when I read it, it all makes sense. It looks like we've got a good deal. Is it a good deal for the United States? Yeah, because it keeps us away from a nuclear weapon threat from Iran. Is it a good deal for Iran? Yeah, I think it's a much better deal for Iran than it is for the United States. But you know, we always have to remember we weren't trying to make Iran our friend. They're not our friend. They haven't been our friend. They're not going to be our friend. What we're trying to do is to make the world a safer place. I really think that that's what this deal actually does. And it puts in place all of the checks and balances that are going to make that happen. I'll be talking about that a little bit later on John Matthews' show, The Conservative Syndicate. If you want to hear it, I'll be on there about 6:15 tonight Pacific time. Just go to the conservativesyndicate.net, and you can hear us talk about this in great detail. Well, this came in 9 minutes ago. The latest, ex-Greek Foreign Minister Varoufakis votes against the government. The latest on Greece's financial crisis. All times are going to be local. At 1:50 a.m., former Greek finance minister Yanis Varoufakis has voted against the government in critical austerity bill vote. Varoufakis, who was replaced earlier this month, led negotiations with bailout creditors for months after Greece's left wing was formed in late January. But he has recently criticized Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras over a draft agreement reached this week for a massive new international rescue deal. You know what? Greece either capitulates here or Greece winds up in financial ruin. I mean, that's the only way that I can see it. It's the only way that I can see that happening at all. Well, here's the latest. Obama thanks Putin for Russian help in the nuke deal. I never thought I'd see this. Here are the latest developments involving the agreement between the United States, Iran, the world powers, to limit the Islamic Republic's nuclear program. You know, the White House says the President Barack Obama has thanked Russian President Vladimir Putin for his country's important role in finalizing the Iran nuclear deal. Obama and Putin spoke today. The White House says the leaders agreed to closely coordinate as the deal is implemented and expressed a desire to work together on other issues, including the civil war in Syria. The White House readout of the leaders' call made no mention of Russia's alleged aggression in Ukraine, even as the United States uses sanctions to punish Russia for its actions in Ukraine. Obama has said it was worthwhile to partner with Putin on areas of mutual interest, including the Iran talks. Well, boy, I'll tell you, it's got to make you wonder. I never thought I'd see the day, one, that we would thank Putin for anything, and two, that Russia would actually help us in a case like that. On the other hand, it was to their benefit. They don't want Iran having nuclear weapons either. How about this? In 1 hour ago, bogus enrollees kept getting Obamacare. Phony applicants that investigators signed up last year under President Barack Obama's health care law got automatically re-enrolled in 2015. Some were rewarded with even bigger taxpayer subsidies for their insurance premiums, a congressional probe has found. The Nonpartisan Government Accountability Office says 11 counterfeit characters that its investigators created last year were automatically re-enrolled by healthcare.gov, even though most had unresolved documentation issues. In Obama's terms, they got to keep the coverage that they had. 6 of those later were flagged and sent termination notices, but GAO said it was able to get 5 of them reinstated by calling healthcare.gov's Consumer Service Center that seemed to be a weak link in the system. The 5 bogus beneficiaries who were reinstated even got their monthly subsidies bumped up a bit. Although GAO didn't ask for it, the case of the 6th fake enrollee who appealed was under review. Go figure. Boy, you know what? And it just goes on going, right? Well, here's the deal. Blowing my mind. Peaks on Pluto. Canyons on Charon. We're talking about Pluto and its and its moons. We're going to talk about that a little bit right after these brief messages. So don't go away. We'll be right back. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Let's get right back into news. There's a lot of it to cover. First off, blowing my mind, peaks are on Pluto, canyons on Chiron. Let me tell you about it. Mankind's first close-up look at Pluto did not disappoint today. The picture showed ice mountains on Pluto about as high as the Rockies and chasms on its big moon Chiron that appear 6 times deeper than the Grand Canyon. Especially astonishing to scientists was the total absence of impact craters in a zoom-in shot of one rugged slice of Pluto. They said that suggests that Pluto is geologically active even now and is being sculpted not by collisions with cosmic debris, but by its internal heat. Breathtaking in their clarity, the long-awaited images were unveiled in Laurel, Maryland, home to mission operations for NASA's New Horizons, the unmanned spacecraft that paid a history-making flyby visit to the dwarf planet on yesterday, actually, after a journey of 9.5 years and 3 billion miles. I don't think any one of us could have imagined that it was this good of a toy store, Principal Scientist Alan Stern said at a news conference. He marveled, "I think the whole system is amazing. The Pluto system is something wonderful." Added Lowell Observatory's Will Grandy, "This is what we came for. This exceeds what we came for," corrected Deputy Project Scientist Kathy Olkin. Boy, isn't that amazing? And if you haven't seen those pictures, go online, take a look at them. It's just unbelievable, fantastic. Well, on a serious note, 2 hours ago, sex offender charged with murder of 2 sisters in 1975 case. 40 years after 2 young sisters vanished from a suburban Maryland mall, an imprisoned sex offender has been charged with murder, authorities said today, bringing some clarity to a baffling case that made parents afraid to let their children out of the house. Lloyd Michael Welch, Jr., 58, told authorities he was with the girls when they were abducted in March of 1975, but denied any role in their deaths. Sheila Lyon, 12, and Catherine Lyon, 10, had walked a few blocks from their house to the Wheaton Plaza Mall to shop for Easter decorations and eat lunch. They never came home. After decades of investigating leads and periodically identifying suspects, a break in the case came in 2013, according to an affidavit. A cold case detective uncovered an interview that Welch gave to police in 1975. The detective compared a photo of Welch to a composite sketch from a witness who saw someone following the girls at the mall, and he saw a strong likeness, the affidavit said. Welch, who was serving a lengthy prison term in Delaware, was indicted by a grand jury in Bedford County, Virginia on Friday on 2 charges of first-degree felony murder. Though the girls' bodies were never found, the indictment unsealed today says the murders were committed during an abduction with intent to defile. You know, I'm not even going to tell you what I think they ought to do to this guy. I have a feeling you already know. Yeah, probably so. Well, testimony from Rosenberg brother released in famous spy case. The brother of Ethel Rosenberg, who was a star trial witness against his sister and brother-in-law in a sensational Cold War atomic spying case, never implicated his sister in an earlier appearance before a grand jury and said that they had never discussed her role at all, according to secret court records unveiled today. The revelation may heighten public suspicion that Ethel Rosenberg was wrongly convicted and executed in an espionage case that captivated the country at the height of the McCarthy-era frenzy about communist allegiances. Rosenberg and her husband, Julius, were put to death in 1953 after being convicted of conspiring to pass secrets about the atomic bomb to the Soviet Union, though they maintained their innocence until the very end. Historians and lawyers who reviewed the transcript said it appeared to lend support to both sides of a dueling narrative that Ethel Rosenberg was framed in an overzealous prosecution, even as her husband appears to have played a central role in the sophisticated spy ring. You change a black and white Cold War narrative, framed or traitors, into a very nuanced gray area? Well, both, said Tom Blanton, director of the National Security Archive at George Washington University, which fought for the records. You know what? That doesn't make him not guilty, but isn't it horrible if we executed her and she was not guilty? Give that some thought. Too late now. Well, how about this? Mexico drug lord escape tunnel is audacious engineering feat. Mexico's most prized prisoner paced his cell first to the latrine, then the shower, then the bed. At every turn around the tiny room, drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman checked the shower floor hidden by a half wall because even jailed criminals get their privacy. In his final sweep, Guzman sat on his bed and took off his shoes. Then he walked back to the shower, stooped behind the wall, and disappeared. It was the beginning of an escape odyssey straight out of the pages of fiction, and the media were given a peek on Tuesday of the deep and sophisticated tunnel that led the leader to the Sinaloa cartel, whose illicit drug trafficking reach includes Europe and Asia, swiftly to freedom late Saturday night. Today, about 30 people who said they were relatives of prison guards detained since Guzman's escape protested outside the Altiplano prison. They declined to give their names, but some carried signs calling for due process and no witch hunt. They said that they had not been allowed to speak to their relatives since the escape. Government video of Guzman's final moments in his cell and journalists' climb into the tunnel put real dimensions in the high-tech engineering feat. 3 stories underground, where planners and builders managed to burrow through dirt and rock right to one spot in Guzman's cell that surveillance cameras couldn't see. You think that happened by itself? I somehow don't think so. Come on, give me a break, right? The guy's got all the money in the world. He's got all the power in the world. He knows exactly what's going on and what's not going on. This man knew he was going home. Now the big secret is, who's going to pay for the fact that he spent a year away? Well, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case is earned income credit is available for nieces. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. Do not go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? This just sends chills up and down my spine. I don't know about you. I just love this part of the show. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. First up, earned income credit is available for nieces. Now, Matthew Gilmore was 19 years old and lived in an apartment with his mother, 3 sisters, and 2 children of his sisters. Now, he had a job, helped support the family, and cared for his nieces for whom he claimed an earned income credit. But the IRS denied the credit. Here he went to court. This is what the judge said. To qualify, Matthew, for the earned income credit, the children must meet age, residence, and relationship tests. As minors who lived with him, they met the first 2. As nieces, they met the relationship test if he cared for them as his own children. So here's what the ruling was. As the oldest male of the family who both cared for and worked to support them, he did so, and so he gets that earned income credit. And so that you don't think that that's just something menial, it's over $5,000 in his case, and I'm sure that they could use it. Good for him. Well, here's another case for you. IRS loses. Payments to teachers who give up tenure are not subject to employment tax. This is what it's all about. Under an early retirement program, teachers in a school district gave up their tenure rights to employment in exchange for cash payments. Now, the IRS said the payments were earned through employment and thus subject to employment tax, which it had the district withhold. And the teachers sued for refunds. They went to court. This is what the judge said. When an at-will employee who can be dismissed at any time is given a severance bonus, it is taxable wages. But here, payment was made in exchange for the surrender of valuable legal rights, not in exchange for labor. So the payments were not wages, and refunds are absolutely granted. And that's what you would expect in a case like this. That's what I expected anyway. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. Was told of a new address. Wait till you get this one. Thomas Hunter moved and filed an IRS power of attorney form that told the IRS to send copies of all tax notices to his accountant and gave his new address. But the IRS sent a deficiency notice only to his old address. Hunter said he never received it, so it was invalid. The IRS answered that Hunter had never filed an IRS Form 8822 change of address form, and general correspondence sent to it containing a new address does not serve as one, so the notice was valid. He went to court. This is what the judge said. A POA, or power of attorney, is not general correspondence and has been held many times by the courts to notify the IRS of a change of address, often at the IRS's own insistence. So, the notice? Can you guess? Yeah, it's valid. And it should have been right from the start. You can bet that. That's for sure. Well, you know what? You ever want to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff? Well, that's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. You know, these are not court rules, but these are things that the IRS does that actually has set a precedence, and we want to talk to you about it because you can use these as an argument on your side, and the IRS can't do a doggone thing about it because they've already said this is how we feel about this, and that's the way it's going to be. Now, first off, how about expenses of attending a convention or seminar outside the United States, or North America, for that matter? Now, they're generally disallowed according to Section 274H of the tax code, but the definition of North America has recently been changed. The United States, its possessions, the trust territories of the Pacific Islands and Canada and Mexico are all acceptable destinations. The Bahamas, Aruba, and the Netherlands, Antilles, have been added to that list, and St. Lucia was dropped as of April, way back in 2007, because its government failed to enact legislation to exchange financial information with the United States. Now, take note. The Cayman Islands and the British Virgin Islands are not included on the list of acceptable destinations because those governments have limited the scope of financial information that may be exchanged with the United States. So kind of keep that in mind when you're doing these things. But you can still go on a seminar outside of North America and have it be tax deductible. That's what that's all about. How about this? How do you lose a computer? Sounds pretty innocent, doesn't it? Wait till you hear this. The Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration has disclosed that the IRS has failed to report to its office the loss of more than 75% of the IRS computers that went missing between January and June of last year. Now, according to the IRS, more than 47,000 laptop computers are assigned to employees. Many of the computers reported missing were lost because employees kept them in unlocked vehicles, left them on buses and trains, or checked them into airline baggage, never to see them again. How standards have dropped. You know, in the old days before computers, when I used to deal with the IRS on a regular basis, the rule was that if you lost a taxpayer's file, it would be grounds for dismissal. Everyone knew that you should never leave a file, even in your locked car, because if the car were stolen, the file would disappear too. But here's the big thing. Those computers have access to all information that you have out there. It knows where you work. It knows where you bank. It knows your Social Security number, your birth date, your kids. It knows all of that stuff. And can you imagine 75% of those laptops are missing? Give me a break. Now, listen, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Now, last week, we were talking about this new software for, I think it was for Facebook. Yeah, it was for Facebook. And that was Who Deleted Me as a Friend. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that during our segment. And I know he wants to talk about a lot of other things too, but we'll talk about that a little bit during our segment. So don't go away. We'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 90 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 98 on its way to 60, and I can't wait till it gets to the 60 part of it. That'll be good. But you know what? I've got my good buddy waiting in the wings. Let's get him in here because we've got lots to talk about.
Robert, it's great to be back again.
Well, you know what? I'm going to start this thing off because you know what? Right after last week's show, I went looking for who deleted me or who unfriended me, and I found it in my app store, and I put it on my iPhone. And it was a little difficult. It was a little slow going, but that was because so many people were actually downloading it, I found out. But it did eventually really work, and I loved the idea that doggone thing was working. It was terrific, and then all of a sudden it stopped, and you sent me this email, this notice about the complaints, and Facebook is taking it off of there because they don't want you defriending people. And you know what? We've got a great idea. You know, we've got about 3 million people listening to us here, Joel, and I'm thinking that every one of them needs to get on Facebook right now and friend Mark Zuckerberg. I think they just need to get on Facebook and make a friend friend to him. And then next week when we do the show, we're going to remind everybody to unfriend him. What do you think?
Do a mass defriending, and he will wonder what is going on. He won't know what hit him. I agree, and I feel bad. I gave you information about this site to go on, and I guess slow going is better than no going. They got pulled down the next day. Delete me, got pulled, or defriend me, and defriended two other companies doing the same thing. They all got cease and desist and pulled down by Facebook. So I agree with you. I think it's useful. Some people want to know. I personally don't care at this point, but some people, do need to know who's jumping on, who's coming off, and it's very easy software to develop, but if Facebook doesn't let you use it.
Yeah, I use one for Twitter. And it does the same. It's Hootsuite is what I use, and basically, or not Hootsuite. I'm sorry. It's called. It's not called that. I mentioned it to you last week, and let me see if I can find it here real quick while we're talking. It's called the Tweet Sponge, and it actually tells me who has friended me and who has unfriended me. And I can actually friend the people that have friended me as a courtesy back to them, and I can unfriend the ones that unfriended me, because who wants to be friends with somebody who's not a friend of yours?
I agree.
And then the other thing,
if enough people, outcry about this, maybe Zuckerberg will come to his senses.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is it's just a management issue for me. I find that a lot of people are just conning it. They want to have a lot of followers, but they don't want to be following a lot of people. And so what they wind up doing is they follow you to get you to follow them, and then they unfollow you. You don't know it, and it's just so that they can have a big following and not have to follow you at the same time.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, now that I've got that off my chest, what's on the agenda for
we've
today?
Got some good stuff today, Robert, and I'm not going to give you any bad news. Last few shows, it was a lot of bad news. This week, we're going to be all good news. How's that for you?
Sounds terrific. By the way, in this wonderful weather, I don't suppose you've been out to the beach, have you?
Not since this morning.
God, you've got such a great life.
Well, I did have a board meeting earlier today. Actually, I had two board meetings, a short board meeting and a long board meeting.
And you got on both of them in a pair of swimming trunks, right?
I did. But back in the office, I have great news. First of all, T-Mobile has some new programs. If you'll recall, last week we were talking about several programs that were going away, which did go away. They introduced two new programs that are a little different, but great in their own way. I'll be talking about those, I guess, before the commercial break. There was one interesting development I wanted to go over, and I don't know if you've heard of I guess you'd call it a forum called Dark Code.
I don't think so.
Well, the government took over their website. They infiltrated this organization. It's a global organization. They had an operation called Shrouded Horizon. It was the FBI and 20 other countries. European countries, Israel, Australia, Colombia, Brazil, Nigeria, all over the place. And these are bad apples, and they arrested 24 guys. And the worst guy, the administrator to this forum, was charged, indicted for computer fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering. He's accused of serving as the administrator of Dark Code and creating and selling malware that allowed hackers to create botnets. Just to make sure your listeners know what a botnet is, some people call it a zombie army. A botnet is a number of Internet computers that, although the owners are not aware of it, they've been set up to forward transmissions, including spam and viruses, to other people on the Internet. So this dirtbag had a botnet of 50,000 computers stealing data from on 200 million occasions.
Holy cow.
This is just one dude. Another dude came out with a platform, an app for $65,000 that they were selling on this forum. I don't know if anybody bought it. That was designed to remotely access, control, and steal data from Google Android cell phones.
Is there ever going to be an end to this kind of stuff, or are just scumbags always going to be a step ahead of us?
Well, I'm afraid the scumbags are always going to be a step ahead of us. But there's 24 of these guys, and each you read, their violations and what they did, and sending spam to millions and millions of computers, and viruses, and stealing people's information. It's crazy. So anyhow, the good news is these people were arrested in over 20 countries. So, and they're still rounding up people. And if you go to the site now, there's a big FBI, domain and website have been seized by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So,
yeah, gotta love that stuff.
Yeah. And then another thing, not really wireless related, but I'm sure your listeners would want to know, which of the 10 airlines, American Airlines, have the highest fees? I know you travel a good deal.
Oh, yeah. Do you know, I was talking to my son-in-law the other day, and we were talking about flying, and gosh, I was so privileged and lucky to be able to fly when flying was. I mean, you were in a suit and tie in your first class, and they used to carve roast beef at your seats, and French wines and the whole 9 yards. And I've watched it change over the years, and now I remember it wasn't that long ago. I took my entire family, 9 of us, to Europe. Right? We had 19 bags. Can you imagine what that would cost me today? 19 bags.
Oh my God.
At $25 a bag, right? That's $500 every time I get on an airplane.
Yes, that's true. Well, here's your list. The highest, and these are the ones who are let's just say these are the airlines that are the most proficient at extracting fees from their customers. The airlines call this ancillary fees. United, number 1. American U.S. Airways, number 2. Delta, number 3. Air France, KLM, number 4. Ryanair, don't even know them. Southwest, Lufthansa, EasyJet, Qantas, and my favorite, Alaska Air, number 10.
That's amazing.
So it is amazing. But, these days you better bring it if you need it, because otherwise they're going to charge you big time for it.
Yeah, and boy, and you know what? At some point, the airlines are going to have to wake up. At some point, we're going to go back to a situation where travelers are going to start using the train again or boats again, because it's not only economically more advantageous, you get treated better and nicer like a human being, and you're not frustrated during the whole trip.
That's true. This is true. Anyhow, also our friend Donald Trump, you've heard he's losing endorsements. Well, you may not have heard this. The FAA is removing, I guess apparently in Palm Beach, one of the coordinates over Palm Beach is called Donald TRMMP. And they're going to change the name of that navigational point from Donald Trump.
Yeah, I heard that.
So even FAA is after him now.
I heard that. You know what? Nothing. He doesn't. I don't think he cares about it. I don't want to get into a political discussion with you, but I don't really think he cares. For him, it's all about publicity. Publicity is worth more than the money he's losing from some of these companies. A half a dozen or so, or actually almost a dozen now, companies that have canceled their sponsorships of him. But when you start to think about it, when this is all said and done, they're all going to be clamoring to get him back, and they're going to have to pay higher prices.
Well, I just heard that, I guess he's tied or leading, as far as a Republican candidate.
Yeah, he's 2 points ahead of Jeb.
It's a scary thought. I think what's ultimately I'm not, a politician or know anything about it, but my guess is the Republican Party is going to have to distance themselves and say, look, dude, don't care what you do. You're not going to be our representative, and he's going to have to go independent, which I'm sure he's going to do, and he's going to cause havoc.
Yeah, that's the problem with that, and that's exactly the problem with that. That's why the Republican Party has been treating him with kid gloves right now, and that's simply because if he does wind up going independent, because he is so doggone independent, what'll wind up happening is he'll pull the voter base away from the Conservative Party, and they won't even have a chance for the White House.
That's true, because I sense there's a lot of people out there who don't really think he's going to be a great president, but they want to make a statement because they're sick of the status quo of the Clintons and the Bushes and the same political system that never seems to change.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an obstructionist government, not just individuals anymore. We've got 535 people in our government that have forgotten that they represent us, those people that put them there. And now all they care about is just staying there regardless of what they have to do, and they don't care what we say, what we think, or anything.
That's very true.
That's what you really wanted to talk about today, huh?
Well, lots of interesting stuff, but he's certainly in the news.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back to this T-Mobile offer before we have to go to break, because it's pretty amazing. It launched on the 15th. If you recall, last week they introduced Canada and Mexico as local, which means their simple choice plans are now North American. You go to Mexico, you go to Canada. Everything goes with you, including your 4G allocation, free calling from these markets now. It's pretty amazing. But what they've done is these new plans they introduced today, there's a 2-line deal for $100, and this program is going to offer 10 gigabytes of data for each line, which is an enormous amount of data. Line 3 through 10 will pay $20. For the data. But anyhow, I'll go over the benefits because there are some added things that T-Mobile has sweetened the pot with. Anybody who wants information on this stuff, it will be on our website, www.drwireless.com, under Best Plans, or contact me, Joel, at drwireless.com.
And we'll be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Joel, you've got the microphone.
All right. We were talking about that new T-Mobile offer that broke today, and basically the way it works is this. It's primarily offered for business, but it's available to retail as well. The first two lines are $100, and they include 10 gigabits of data per phone, which is an enormous amount of data. Your third line would be $20. Third to 10th line is $20. The interesting thing about this program is obviously 10 gigabytes is a tremendous amount of data, and if you hit that, they'll throttle you. They won't kill you. They'll just slow your speeds down.
Now, is that per month, Joel?
That's per month.
Wow.
So, which is pretty amazing. And the last month, we had the two lines unlimited. So they had to sweeten it a little bit, so they changed the deal a little bit. And here's what we have. And I'm convinced 10 gigs, I've never used 10 gigs, and I stream Netflix and quite a few things from my phone, so I'm convinced that's enough data. But what's interesting here is they're now giving Mobile Without Borders, which is that new program where Canada and Mexico become totally local. And I mean free phone calls, free, the 4G data, counts there. It's wonderful. They're offering music freedom, and what that is they give you the premium Rhapsody service with no commercials, and you can skip as many songs as you want. Totally free. It's like Pandora, the premium Pandora service. I love it. I use it every day. And they give you Data Stash. And Data Stash is fantastic. Let's say you have 10 gigabytes of data this month and you only use 4. You got 16 next month.
Whoa, you mean
so this is as
balance
good
rolls
as
over?
an unlimited data plan as far as I'm concerned. It's really quite remarkable. And if you activate 4 lines, here's the kicker. Anybody who activates 4 lines before, I believe it's, I want to be precise. Okay, between July 15th through Labor Day, anybody activating 4 lines will receive a $20 bill credit every single month. So that's not bad. And they get all the benefits as well. And Wi-Fi calling, Data Stash, music freedom. It's pretty amazing stuff. So I'm convinced this is one of the better deals out there. This has got to be really
frustrating for you, Joel, because so many things are coming on the block. You're aware of all of the things that are coming on. You have got to be the most frustrated consumer in the world because you're trying it all.
Well, my policy is when I see something great and I think it's going to go away, I'll take it and get grandfathered. And if something better comes along, I'll read all the fine print and make sure that it's worth taking. So this is a good deal. And now Sprint's deal also was pretty good. I think we talked about that. I had dropped them for a while. I'm back on board. I had a few issues with them, and it looks like they've worked past it. So their new $80 all-in program, you may have seen David Beckham advertising it, is a pretty interesting program. It's unlimited voice, text, and 4G data for $80, and that $80 includes the $20 lease cost. And basically they want you to lease an iPhone 6 16 gig or a Samsung S6 32 gig, and basically it's $20 a month on the lease payment. If you want a more deluxe version or more memory, I think you can pay $100 down, or if they have a program where you can pay something up front. But it is actually
let me stop you for a minute. How do you actually feel about that? Because at this point now, every time when I get a phone, I go for the maximum memory. Because every time I think that I'm not going to use that much, I do. I get really close. So I just go for the maximum memory, whatever the heck I can get now. How do you feel about that?
Well, I qualify my clients very carefully. I spoke to a doctor the other day who tells me, Joel, I don't put music on my phone. I don't save pictures. I don't save anything on my phone. I use it for email and web browsing. All right, 16 gig is okay for him. But anybody who is downloading pictures, high-res pictures, downloading video, anybody who's got any kind of size in their music library, the problem is when we get these Apple upgrades, more often than not, you need X amount of megabytes to be able to do the upgrade, and people end up furiously deleting content because they have too much of it. So I agree with you. I always say if you think you need 16, get more.
Yeah.
If you think you need 32, get more. Never hurts to have too much memory.
No, it sure doesn't.
In life as well.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just mentally thinking of it. It just seems to me that, and I guess my entire career, I've always bought equipment that was rated for much more than the use that I thought I was gonna need it for, because I figured, that means it's an easy job for that thing, and it'll last longer and have less problems. And that's kind of how I've gone through life. So, I buy something rated much better than what I actually need, and that way I'm not disappointed and don't have to spend my life fixing it all the time.
Well, if you need justification to do that, the resale value when you buy quality is higher because everybody's buying the cheap 16 gig. So when you buy the 128 gig, it's going to cost you a lot more, but the resale value on it's going to be a lot more because there's only so many of those devices out there for resale. So I tell people, if it's any consolation, you're going to pay another $100 or $200 for it, but guess what? It's going to be worth another $150 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Something to think about. Anyhow, new products. We have rumors that there's some new Nexus phones coming out. And I hate passing rumors, but these are from some pretty reliable sources. And these leaks indicate that there's going to be two new devices. One is going to be made by LG, and the other one is going to be made by Huawei, which is a Chinese company. Not sure I'm pronouncing them right. But they will be bringing out a 5.7-inch screen, bigger than the iPhone 6 Plus. It will have the fingerprint sensor. It's going to have a monster resolution, Snapdragon 820 processor. Basically, it's going to spec out like the iPhone 6 Plus and then some. So we'll have to see. What I like to do is wait for CNET and Gadget and all my friends to review these. So we'll be looking at that model. The other model we're going to be looking at, another Chinese company we talked about. Remember OnePlus One?
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a OnePlus 2 and I think a OnePlus 4 coming out. So they have some new models coming out, and their claim to fame is they've got basically a similar model to the iPhone 6 Plus 64 gig, which is like $950 for the iPhone. I think it's less than half the price. I think it's $300 or something. So it's not an iPhone, but the specs are great. And, for somebody who can't throw $950 down but wants, that kind of specs, it's certainly worth looking at. The problem is you got to buy. I believe you got to buy it on a Tuesday or be invited. I don't know if they've opened it up. They have a kind of a crazy marketing program, but OnePlus One is the name of the company. If anybody wants to Google it.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Have you heard about all this data that NASA got from Pluto?
Oh, man, I'll tell you, I'm just absolutely flabbergasted over Pluto and Chiron. The stuff that they're getting, I mean, just unbelievable stuff. And the pictures are so crystal clear. Have you seen them?
I have seen them. The only thing that I don't understand is maybe it's a government thing, but apparently I guess there's a budgetary constraints. But NASA is using old school modem technology. I guess out in space you don't have a lot of options. But remember those old modems that made the awful sound that were 19.6 kilobits per second? This is what these guys are using. The data is they're estimating it's going to take 16 months for the spacecraft to send back to Earth all of this data that it's been storing for 10 years. And the reason is they've got this old antiquated antenna system, and I can't imagine that there isn't something more efficient.
Yeah, but I wonder if they're locked into the technology that's already on the spacecraft.
Well, I mean, it's outfitted with I guess 2 8-gigabyte solid-state drives, to store onboard, information. Mm-hmm. And I guess it can compress and reformat it. They're saying that, however, all of the stored data is being sent to the Earth at the same speed as 1990s phone modems because of the small radio antenna used to transmit the information. NASA chose the antenna because of budgetary constraints.
How silly. Did you see that the first picture that they sent back of Pluto took, at 186,000 miles per second, took 4.5 hours to get here?
Wow.
Can you imagine?
I can't even comprehend how far away Pluto is.
Yeah, 1 billion miles.
Well, in closing, before I forget, I just wanted to mention Samsung is coming out with a new model. They claim it's their thinnest phone ever. It's going to be 5.9 millimeters thick, which is thinner than the iPhone 6. And they're going to call it the A8. I think it's going to retail for about $515. It's going to have mid-range specs. I don't think it's going to spec out quite as well as the high-end Samsung S6, but looks very interesting.
Well,
everybody wants to go thin.
We've got about 2-3 minutes left here. I want to just kind of get into your mind. We've seen so much technology taking place now. How much more technology on these phones can we actually expect, Joel? I mean, God, they do everything now. What's left to happen? Well,
obviously, it's the Internet of Things. So you're going to see your phones, basically operating your household appliances, and there's going to be apps that are going to tie your phone with your daily life in your office and in your home. Data speeds, we're going to see 4.5. We're going to see, 5. We're going to see all kinds of, advances in data speeds. It's hard to really, say at this point. We know Google Fi is coming out, so I think rates are going to get more competitive. But we're going to see a lot of technology. It seems to me that the providers are going to have to look for revenue streams, new forms of revenue streams. Streaming is the big thing we're seeing right now. But I guess what's after streaming?
Yeah,
we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I even find myself, if there's something I really want to see, I'll stream it on my iPhone, even though it's a small screen. I'd prefer to see Netflix on a bigger screen. But I'll look at, if it's something I really want to see, I'll put it on my iPhone. I don't want to miss something that's going out, or I'm anxious to see something, or I got some dead time sitting out there.
You know what? When you're sitting in a doctor's office, or you're waiting at your dentist, or you're at the DMV, everybody tells me I have no desire to do any of this. Well, if you've got a limited 1 gigabyte plan and there's a worry that you might be charged $15 a megabyte, I wouldn't want to do this stuff either. And that's why I tell people, don't paint yourself into a corner, because there are times when even us, that little 5-inch screen is plenty good. I was watching Comedy Central. I was watching a roast the other night at the dentist's office. And the dentist is asking me what's so funny. Everybody else in there wasn't having a good time. And I was laughing. And I told him I was watching a roast. And, and he started watching it, and he said, wow, you can do that? And he had Verizon. I said, you can do it, but I don't recommend it.
Well, Joel, give out your contact information real quick. We're running a little long here.
All right, www.drwireless.com. We're on Facebook at Facebook/drwireless, and anybody who wants information regarding all of this wireless content can reach me at joel@drwireless.com.
And don't forget, everybody, sign up to be a friend with Mark Zuckerberg, because next week we're going to have you unfriend him. We need to get his attention. And I want everybody to know that the person suggesting to you this, his name is Joel Saltzman. It's not me. It's Joel. I don't want to get in trouble with Zuckerberg. He's got more money than I have.
There goes my Christmas card from Mark this year. Thanks, Robert.
All right. Hey, Joel, have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Likewise. Take
All right.
care.
Now, do not go away. Coming right up is going to be our own Ray Mailer with his American Grid series. And Ray is going to be talking about the ghost houses in China, and he's also going to explain to me why I got this horrendous water bill again. I thought I was all done with this crap, but I got it all back again. So we'll talk about that right after we come back from these brief messages. Do not go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? Right now at 5:09 p.m. Pacific time, it's currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the easy for me to say, Inland Empire. That's down from 100 degrees on his way to 61, and I can't hardly wait till it gets down to that 61. But right now he's waiting in the wings, and he's going to, and I said we were going to talk about ghost houses. We're going to talk about ghost cities in China. But first I'm going to ask my good buddy Ray Mailer about why I got a $618 water bill. Let's bring him on in here.
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee die.
And now, from the National Archives of Public Planning, located in the basement of his Long Beach Reference Library, the unappreciated but widely acknowledged expert on past, present, and future infrastructure planning, let's welcome Mr. Ray Mailer and his American Grid. Hey, Ray, welcome aboard. I'm glad to have you here. I need to vent so seriously, it's unbelievable. Now, you remember when I last got my water bill, I was complaining because it was $550, but I had a few leaks because I've got a fairly large home and lots of bathrooms in this home, and if you don't use them, you just don't know what's going on. And so I had some leaks, and you remember me telling you about that and how upset I was. Well, I fixed those leaks, Ray. And I was looking forward to this month's water bill. Well, I'm never looking forward to this month's water bill, but I just received it in yesterday's mail. $618, and it says I reduced my water usage from last year by 28%, and I still got banged with this thing.
Holy Toledo. Wow. I'm surprised, but maybe not so surprised, given the situation. I did see that your water district was good. It looks like the residents really pulled together and reduced their water use. I think 27% or something like that, which was a good cut. I also noticed that the water district did impose upon each of the customers that they each hit a 35% reduction. I was a little surprised to see, compared to some other cities, that the water district was saying you could still water 3 days a week. That was certainly aren't seeing that near my home much anymore. It's at most 2 days a week.
Well, Ray, I got to tell you, I told my wife Marlene last night. I said, "That's it. I am turning off all of the outside water from my backyard. I am going to let it die. $600 a month. This is ridiculous."
Yeah. Boy, you do the math on that. That's over $7,000 a year just to water it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I assume I wasn't able to find out any details, but I assume your water district changed its rate structure, because if you're paying more for less, it sounds like the cost per unit has increased.
Oh yeah, they have a tier system.
Okay.
And I want to tell you, I'm weeping real tears.
Just go take a step outside of your backyard, and it just might last a little longer.
I gotta, yeah. I gotta. That's true, I suppose. My son-in-law was telling me about he had this idea, or a friend of his had this idea a long, long time ago, and now it's actually happening. You know what gray water is, right?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
And so basically, it just, you're waiting for the hot water, or you've got dishwater or soapy water, stuff like that, and it all goes down the drain and gone, right? You don't use it. Now they've got some guy, and I believe he's out of Australia somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where he's from. And he has come up with these 500-gallon tanks. They're actually being put into the ground, under the ground, with new home construction. And all of your gray water is going into these tanks. And then you use these tanks to do your landscaping watering.
Oh, that sounds like a brilliant idea. We've tried to do a little bit of that on a small scale at our house, which small scale is about all we could do, which is, if you're letting the water run to get the hot water, put a pot under it, and then once the hot water comes, set the pot aside, and then later bring it out to go water some tomatoes.
Now you wind up with a 500-gallon tank. It's underground. It's part of the construction of the homes. It makes a lot of sense. Something we should have done, a long, long time ago. Except that we still wouldn't. That probably would have kept the legislature from doing any planning with regard to water preservation and reclamation.
Yeah. Along those lines, we looked at some new construction where apparently the zoning officials had a little bit of foresight, and they're requiring, basically collection systems for rainwater. So when rain does fall to your home, you've got gutters on your home.
Yeah.
And rather than just let it run into the yard, you're supposed to capture it into tanks.
Well, mine, Ray, mine's even worse. I've got gutters all around. I've got a large home, and I've got gutters all the way around my home. And when the landscape architect came out here, they run down into pipes underground and run out to the road. So it doesn't even get to my lawn. It just goes right out to the road and down the gutter.
Oh, whose brilliant idea was that?
Well, I don't know, but if somebody would have said to me 15 years ago when I built this house, hey, you want to put in a 500-gallon water reclamation tank, it sold. They wouldn't even have to tell me anything. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I'm amazed that the water is plumbed just to go into the storm drain. Boy, that's too bad. Oh, no, I think I feel better. I'm done venting.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you feel a little better. I can only say, given what you're telling me, you must have, they must have increased the tiering.
Yeah.
And both the TIER tiering and your consequent...
The TEAR tiering was really getting me now. When I opened that envelope.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm expecting something like $300.
Yeah. Boy, that's amazing. Well, since we're talking about water, maybe we'll cover that first. So today's LA Times carried an interesting piece about state water regulators are considering some new rules that will significantly limit the amount of lawn that can be planted at new schools, new businesses, new homes. And that if adopted, these rules could take effect as early as December 1st. That kind of drew my attention because I like lawns.
I do too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good to be done with it. On a certain days, it's great just to be able to walk out in bare feet and enjoy that cool grass.
Okay.
But
I'm thinking AstroTurf.
Yeah, but that's hot.
But it's green. It's green.
Yeah, it's green, but anyway, yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm not
not my style. Not my style.
Yeah.
Not what I'd be looking for. I guess I'm a little bit peeved because of the LA Times is its bias is not always so well hidden, and it can be a bit of a bother sometimes. So they put in this article kind of a featured quote. I thought they'd quote a landscape architect, professor from USC, who stated, LA will be a far more interesting place than this monoculture of grass. The attraction to subdivisions with pristine lawns has changed. People are a lot more sophisticated and urbane, and much more likely to let go of their lawns.
Who the hell wrote that? Some robot?
What's that?
Who the hell wrote that? Some robot?
Yeah. Some professor of landscape architecture, using words like people are more sophisticated and urbane now.
He lives in an apartment on the 18th floor of a building in the middle of the city.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I just thought, they're really trying to empower, what's basically some marketing on this to steer more and more people away from lawns. I understand there may be some excesses, and we should correct those, but to eliminate them altogether, or as this proposes, to come pretty close to it, I think that's going a step too far. This is not Arizona or the desert parts of New Mexico, so I didn't appreciate that.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, but. Anyway, so there is this proposal. The regulations haven't been adopted yet, but they're under consideration, and I think it would be disappointing to see something so heavy-handed as this. It's just to prevent any future lawns from being created.
Yeah, these idiots didn't do enough future planning to make sure that this couldn't happen to us, that we wouldn't have plenty of water, which they could have done. It would have been no big deal. They still can actually get this accomplished, but instead of doing that, they're going to make the rest of society suffer through an urbane, ugly-looking environment. Anyway, we're talking to our own Ray Mailer in the American Grid. I'm guessing that, Ray, when we come back, we're going to talk about those ghost cities in China.
You are right. Ghost cities in China.
We'll be right back after these brief messages with our own Ray Mailer. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Ray Mailer with his American Grid, and we're about ready to go to China. Well, maybe not that, but we'll talk about these ghost cities that they have in China. Ray, you've got the microphone.
Well, thank you, Bob. You may recall last week you had mentioned that China had a bunch of ghost cities, and I thought, boy, that'd be a great subject for a future show. So here we are.
Today is the day.
Yeah, so thank you for that suggestion, and let's talk about China's ghost cities. So they have basically, I guess they're characterizing their third-tier cities, so you probably wouldn't recognize most of the names. But they are suffering from an over-construction boom, leading to really high vacancy rates of 15 and maybe 20% kind of across the country by next year. The few residents that are in these ghost cities, they're kind of growing to accept that that they're receiving this dub of ghost cities. But a handful are returning to their original homes. There's a business reporter who traveled to Kangbashi, which is scheduled to be renamed Ordos. And they found workers renting vacant office space as apartments for as little as $65 a month. And while in the same city, there's a photograph showing a residential complex of 20-story buildings full of apartments and condominiums, and they're all vacant.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. Apparently, what gets this going is the Chinese government kind of has set a certain GDP goal, and they went undeterred by the 2008 financial meltdown and proceeded to overbuild about 52 million residences. And these residences are mostly purchased by upper and middle class families and sit unoccupied. So they're bought and paid for and heavily leveraged. But these families purchase them strictly as investments, and they're getting nothing for them at this point.
Yeah, I was going to say, not too good a return on investment there, huh?
Yeah, it's a big fat zero right now. Or actually, zero would be good. A big loss each.
Yeah, they're
month.
on the other side of zero.
That's right. Well, this pattern that happened, or this thing that happened, I guess is kind of a reflection of how the Communist Party handles capitalism. There are apparently 600 more cities in China since 1949, when the Communist Party took over. Some of that's due to population growth, but 600 more cities. I kind of wonder if we have 600 cities in the U.S.
I was just sitting here thinking that same thing. Can you imagine 600 new cities?
Yeah, it's amazing. This large scale urbanization started in the early 1980s as rural areas would be rezoned as urban, and then many cities doubled or tripled in size in the 2000s, and Shanghai grew sevenfold from about 6.5 million to 23 million in the 2000s. So the population growth is there, and a lot of it is internal immigration from the rural areas. But it's China's centralized government that is kind of the architect of the method behind this frenzy. Mm-hmm. Chinese overarching fiscal policy intends to create 10 mega regions with city clusters of about 25 to 100 million people that are connected through infrastructure, economy, and politically connected. And China's fiscal policy mostly compels municipalities to comply with this urbanization plan. And kind of getting into the details of how this happens, the World Bank reports that China's municipalities must independently find funding for 80% of its expenses, while receiving only 40% of the nation's tax revenue. So they've got a huge shortfall that they need to meet to keep the cities running.
Wow, sounds like Greece.
Yeah, it is a little bit like Greece, and some of the more interesting articles explored this issue. But just kind of getting through the rest of the mechanics here. So municipalities make up this difference with land sales. They buy cheap rural land, rezone it as urban. That's like the big power that cities have, and then resell it at higher urban construction land rates. And they pocket the difference. The cities pocket the difference. These municipal governments raised almost $500 billion in 2012 alone using this method. Now, you might say, because here in the U.S., a real estate developer could go ahead and purchase land and then choose to maybe wait for the right time to bring their development to the market. Well, Chinese law does not allow that. So these real estate developers, once they purchase the land, are on the hook to develop it immediately. And that's how you wind up with this overbuilt situation.
That's just amazing. And it's actually a plan. I mean, it's when you talk about GDP, it's China's plan to put people to work, to make them earn money, and they're doing it to build all this construction that they're not even going to put population into.
Exactly. Or, as I also learned, they kind of take a longer-term view towards populating a city. I guess the municipal and national governments are perfectly comfortable waiting 15 or 20 years for a city to fill up.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. And another one of the pinch points is that in the meantime, you have some residents there, so you still have to provide all the infrastructure, all the services that a city provides. Water, maintain the streets, sewer, trash collection, police, fire, education.
Oh, wait, whoa. We're talking about China, right?
We are.
They don't even get rid of the cobwebs, much less the worry about cleaning the streets.
Well, these new cities actually look really attractive.
I know. Actually, I've seen them, but not. I haven't been there, but I saw them on TV. I saw a documentary. It was just amazing. I think it was a 60-minute documentary, and the people were walking through that city, and nothing there.
Yeah. And the Chinese government seems pretty sanguine about this.
Yeah.
They seems comfortable with the 15 to 20 years to get people to move in, and apparently the record is good. After that, after those 15 or 20 years, the city is populated and becomes economically very viable at that point. They just kind of take a longer-term view. I was just trying to draw a comparison with what might happen here in the U.S. We might occasionally overbuild, never on the scale that's happening in China. We might overbuild some individual housing, but, if it's absorbed within a couple of years, the project is usually considered a success. Sometimes we get kind of caught unawares with a sudden recession or depression. We might need to wait a full business cycle to populate or get full utilization out of something. But, the Chinese, again, are just on a different scale, and, they're basically waiting 3 full business cycles to wait for a city to fill out. So,
well, their patience is inscrutable, isn't it?
It is. And getting to one of your earlier comparison, potentially with Greece, apparently this is where centralized government helps out also. Because the municipal governments are tied to the central government, are tied to the banks, nobody wants any of the others to fail. So they keep working things out to create the time needed for the city to populate and get everybody in there. So apparently, in the U.S., or at least prior to 2008, we tended to have a laissez-faire approach. If there was a market crash, let it crash. And I actually do kind of subscribe to the theory that actually is the fastest way to shake things out and get back to recovery.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, which I think is why it lasted for so long in the U.S. But I think we kind of turned a corner in 2008 and decided, no, we're going to bail everybody out this time. And we could argue the point either way, but
economically, we could actually have a long discussion about what the United States did with regard to being too big to fail, and actually they created companies that were too big to fail, and set us up for this whole thing again in the future. So it's crazy stuff. And you think in terms of Greece, we were talking about Greece earlier, and I'm not so sure that's the same thing in China because they just put a bullet in your head. But in Greece, 89% of the tax revenue is not collected. So how do they even pay for their infrastructure? Which is why they got to be put on an austerity program. They're not collecting tax from their citizens.
Do they need an IRS?
Well, I think they have ours. We don't need it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if they'd like to see a model of efficiency in extracting or extorting as much as possible from its citizens.
Well, yeah, today I actually had a segment of my show today. The IRS last year lost 75% of their laptop computers. I think it was.
Oh, you're kidding?
No, unbelievable.
Wow.
Now, how do you lose 75? I think it was 75,000 laptop computers. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I know the prices come down, but still.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, these IRS agents are leaving them on planes. They're leaving them in the trunks of cars. They're not locking them, their cars, leaving them in the cars. They're checking them into baggage that they never see again on an airplane. And all of these computers have access to your Social Security number, where you work, your address, your wife's social, where she works, your kids' socials, where you bank, where your bank. All that stuff is there for the taking. 75,000 of them?
Wow.
How much has to happen before the IRS actually is disbanded and we put somebody in there that is effectual?
Great point. I guess I'll count myself fortunate. At least I don't think I've had an identity fraud situation because of lost IRS files, but it sounds like it could happen and happen soon.
Well, it's just... we keep hearing about all these hackers and all these things that are getting in, and what we're not hearing about are the stupid oversights that we have in government departments that they either don't care, or the management they have, their management is less than adequate.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it really does seem like a management issue.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember back when I was actually dealing with the IRS on a regular basis. If somebody lost a computer, they also lost their job.
Okay. Now that'd be a pretty snug enforcement mechanism.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I know I took you off into another segment, and I don't know why I even did that. But, it starts off with Greece. We've been all around the world: China, Greece, Australia.
Did I mention that in China, many of these ghost cities have a European theme?
For real?
Some of these cities were some I read about were supposed to be exact duplicates of towns in Austria or Denmark or the Netherlands. And the photograph showed it. It had kind of a Unreal Disney World kind of visual, because you look at those perfect walls and that those actual villages in Europe are 500 years old, and those walls just aren't that smooth.
Yeah.
But but it did seem a little bit charming. Small streets, and everything was really neat and pretty. But nobody lives there.
Yeah, you know what? It wouldn't be eerie just to walk through there.
Indeed. Yeah, that was the remark of some of the visitors. It's kind of spooky.
And so, don't they have homeless in China? Why don't they put the homeless in those buildings?
Well, maybe that's how they get the cities eventually populated.
Yeah, could be. Anyway, my friend, this terrific segment. I really enjoyed it. It was really terrific.
Well, thank you. I had fun talking about it, and look forward to whatever next week's subject might be.
Sounds good to me. Well, listen, my friend, you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe. Have a safe trip on your way home. Don't forget to give that lovely wife of yours a hug and a kiss from me, will you?
I'll be happy to do that.
All right. Now, everybody, don't go away, because when we come back from this commercial break, we're going to talk about the birthdays for today, the secret daily teachings for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, the lifestyle tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, you know what today is, right? Sure you do. It's July the 15th, and it's somebody's birthday. Well, I apologize. We hit the wrong button, but we got that covered right now anyway, so we know we've wound up with somebody's birthday. In any event, you know what? Marky Ramone was born in 1956, a drummer who's best known for being the drummer for the Ramones. Makes sense to me. Well, here's a guy born in 1961, noted for his role as the chief UN weapons inspector in Iraq from 1991 to 1998, and later for his criticism of the United States foreign policy in the Middle East. I should say happy birthday to Scott Ritter. And then finally, somebody that most all of us know was born in 1961, actor who became the fourth African-American male to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. Happy birthday to Forrest Whitaker. Boy, what a great actor he is. Did you see The Butler? Boy, that was fantastic. Well, what happened today in history on July the 15th? In 1815, Napoleon Bonaparte surrenders aboard the HMS Bellerophon. And in 1916, in Seattle, Washington, William Boeing and George Conrad Westerfeld incorporate Pacific Aero Products, later renamed Boeing. Yeah. And then in 1999, the inaugural game of the Seattle Mariners' Safeco Field was held in Seattle, Washington. Well, our quote for today comes from C.P. Snow, and C.P. says, "The pursuit of happiness is most ridiculous phrase. If you pursue happiness, you'll never find it." You got to have it. Makes sense to me, I guess. I'm not sure. The guy's got a defeatist attitude. Well, let's talk about that sacred daily teaching for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You've got to have a positive mental attitude if you want to get ahead in life. And the teaching for today is the biggest message of The Secret is for you to know that you are the creator of your life and that you are the expert of you. The Secret's message is to empower you with the realization of how magnificent you are and that you have all the power within you to create your life the way that you choose through the law of attraction. And that, my friends, it's just a fact. That's all it is. It's just a fact. Well, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. The management tip today is bring meetings to a close effectively. But, you know, I've been tongue-tied today. I don't know why that's going on. But you know what? Here's the thing. A common complaint among managers is that despite holding so many meetings, few meetings actually produce results.
We keep talking about the same issue over and over, but nothing seems to ever happen. The issue? Most meetings lack closure. The necessary link between meeting and impact to deliberately and effectively close the meeting. Check for alignment. Ask, is everyone okay with where we ended up? To surface any questions or concerns and to ensure that everyone is on the same page. And agree on the next steps. Ask what needs to get done before our next meeting. Nail down specific commitments, concrete deadlines, and follow-up schedules. And then reflect on what you accomplished. Say, these are the 5 things I'm taking away from this to validate the conversation and the team. And then finally, check for acknowledgments. Did anyone contribute to the conversation in a way that needs to be highlighted? Give people credit. You have got to do that. Just absolutely got to do that. You know, someone once said, you can get anything you want done in this world as long as you don't care who gets the credit. You know, that is an absolute fact. Stop worrying about the credit. You know what? Everything you ever wanted in life will happen if you help everybody else get what they want. I heard that from Zig Ziglar. And you know what? He was right. Well, it's time for our interesting, well, I'm having a tough time today. Interesting but useless facts. And the first one on the board here, the bans on hats trace back to the custom of knights wearing their lady love scarves around their helmets. Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of interesting if you think about it. How about this? Business.com, one of the most expensive domain names, sold for $7.5 million. Wow. Don't you wish you'd have saved that name for yourself and then resold it? Holy cow, absolutely. How about this? There are only 4 words in the English language that end in DOUS. That's D-O-U-S. It's tremendous, horrendous, stupendous, and hazardous. That's it. Interesting? Probably not. Did you know that smokers eat more sugar than non-smokers do? I didn't know that. I must be getting caustic toward it, or callous toward this stuff, because it doesn't seem all that interesting to me. Did you know that stressed is dessert spelled backwards? Yeah, you eat the dessert and then you get stressed because you know what's going to happen when you get on that scale, all right? Absolutely. Did you know that by the age of 60, most people have lost 50% of their taste buds? Oh, what a shame that is. That must be why we keep putting more salt and pepper and stuff on the food, right? Did you know that it's illegal to purchase or consume Jack Daniel's whiskey in the town in which it's actually produced? Yep, in Kentucky. And bats are the only mammals that are able to fly. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. Butterflies taste with their feet. I didn't know that either. That's kind of interesting if you think about it. Let's try this one on. Did you know that the LL in LL Bean stands for Leon Leonwood? Yep. Did you care? Nah, probably not. Americans use over 16,000 tons of aspirin a year. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then in 1960, the ratio of the average Fortune 500 CEO's pay to the United States president's salary was 2-to-1. Today, this ratio is around 30-to-1. Yeah, and that's something. Let's see here. How about, let's leave it with this one. Topless saleswomen are illegal in Liverpool, England, but only in tropical fish stores. Now, that was worth leaving you with, right? That was kind of an interesting thing. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to answer all of your emails. The first email I've got is from Devin Poloni from Chandler, Arizona, asking about startup costs or startup losses, I'm sorry. And we'll talk all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific Time. It is currently 89 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 98 on his way to 61, and, well, I can't wait for that 61. But you know what? We're coming down to the wire, and it's time for our emails for today. And I want to remind you that this is an entertainment section of the show, and sometimes the emails you send me are a little sketchy, and so I'm giving you the best advice that I can give you, but I'm going to caution you to always, always, always check with a licensed professional in your area before you do anything. You know what? They're gonna give you peace of mind. They're gonna let you sleep at night. They're gonna not have you worrying about somebody calling you, knocking on your door, or sending you a registered mail. Because one of the requirements of their being licensed is that they have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they give you wrong advice, they pay the piper, not you. You get to sleep at night, and that's a good thing. Now, let's get right to it. You know, the first email today comes from Devon Poloni from Chandler, Arizona, asking about startup losses, and writes, I did freelance work for a startup business that used the cash method of accounting. Then it failed without even paying me. Can I deduct my loss?
Well, unfortunately, Devon, the answer to your question is no. Even if there is a contract providing for payment, if the business didn't pay you anything, you simply don't report any income from it. Now, you didn't get any deduction for a financial loss because you don't actually have a financial loss. You may consider yourself to have lost the value of the time and effort that you put into your work, but the value of time and effort isn't deductible and not even recognized by the Internal Revenue Service. So sorry about that, Devin, but that's the way she blows. Next email comes from Caden Encinias from Milford, Connecticut, asking about a mortgage deduction. It says, last year I started building a new home to move into. When home prices started falling, I stopped construction to wait and see what happens in the market. Now I'm still living in my old home. Can I claim a mortgage interest deduction for the interest on the loan I used to start building the new home? Well, Caden, when you start building a new home, you can deduct interest paid on it, related financing as mortgage interest for a period of up to 24 months, provided the home becomes your main or second home at the time that it's actually ready for occupancy. Now, you're still within that 24-month period or window, so the interest that you're incurring will qualify as mortgage interest. Now, you can deduct mortgage interest on 2 homes. For more details about this, go see the rules in IRS Publication 936. That's home mortgage interest deductions, and that'll be able to clarify it for you. Now, next email comes from Bilson Hayford from Hillsboro, Oregon, asking about minimum distributions and writes, I'm retired with savings in a 401k account, 3 IRAs, and a simplified employee pension. It's a SEP plan. Starting at age 70 and a half, annual required minimum distribution rules apply to all of them. Can I take my total required annual distribution from any one of them, or must I take an annual distribution from each of them? Great question, Bilson. And here's your answer. The annual required minimum distribution is computed separately for the 401k, but for the IRAs and the SEP, the SEP, it's computed on a combined basis. So you'll receive an annual distribution from the 401k in accordance with its plan terms, and you'll will determine your required annual distribution from the IRAs and the SEP on the basis of their combined balance, and can either take the entire amount from any one of them or divide it among them as you wish. Hopefully that answers your question. But, again, I'm going to tell you, go see a licensed professional. You know that, right? Absolutely. Well, last email comes from Sophia Orozco de Ras from Marietta, Georgia, asking about hobby expenses and says, I'm developing photography as a serious hobby and have received offers to buy my pictures. If I use the money I receive from sales to buy photography equipment and for other expenses of taking pictures, can I claim a tax deduction for these costs? Well, Sophia, hobby expenses are deductible in an amount up to the income received from a hobby and thus can shelter that income from tax. But there may be some limitations. Hobby expenses are claimed as an itemized deduction on Schedule A of your tax return among your miscellaneous expenses, the total of which is deductible only to the extent that it exceeds 2% of your adjusted gross income. So, if you don't file a return that itemizes deductions, and only about 25% of the nation does, you'll get no deduction. And if you do, your deduction may be limited by that 2% of AGI floor. By the way, there are many other rules that also may apply, so check with your tax advisor to make sure that you've got that right. You're always going to want to do that. You know what? I keep telling you, they always are going to save you more money than what they're going to cost you. If nothing else, they're going to give you that peace of mind that you most certainly always deserve. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Blog Talk Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, where I get all the emails that I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be John Matthews with his Conservative Syndicate. My special guest is Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, stay safe, stay cool, stay happy, and you know what? Good night, everybody.